And what do you think, are the top three tips that you would give to someone who wants to start their own thing? Besides timing, is there anything else that you think comes to mind that would be super helpful?
So, if I wanted to give three tips to someone who was creating something, I'm going to, if that's okay with you, I'm going to tailor this answer to a sustainability or an impact startup, kind of the whole point. So, specifically for an impact startup or a sustainability startup, the three main tips that I would give a new founder would be pick your area of impact and stick to it. So, for example, with Beans, our area of impact was in food waste. We got a bit of backlash from some investors, some VCs. We got challenged quite a lot on, but you're reducing food waste, but isn't giving people access to products cheaper than supermarkets going to encourage them to also not necessarily be picky on what they're eating in terms of the nutritional value. So aren't people
Mhm.
going to eat less healthy because you're giving them access to, candy and Coca-Cola and Nutella and all these unhealthy products? They are right to a certain extent. I mean, they're right and not. I mean, they're right in the sense that you gotta pick your angle for impact. Our angle was food waste. Our angle was not nutrition. The reality is that the more you try to, have eggs in different baskets and, try to diversify your angle of impact, the less likely it is that you're gonna have any real impact. So my first tip would really be pick your impact area and stick to it. The second tip that I would give was measure your impact from the very beginning in a very reliable and specific way. As Peter Drucker used to say, right? What can be measured can be managed.
Exactly.
So I think that's very important to keep it in mind because a lot of people go into sustainability kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll do a bit of this, we'll do a bit of that, but then don't particularly measure it. And whether it's to raise funds, whether it's, to build your own reputation as a company, it's incredibly important that you're able to measure that impact, right? And to build your story and your narrative around it. Because yeah, not only for investors, but just the entire reputation and the entire stake of your company is going to be measured around that. Even for hiring, people come to you because you're building something that has impact. So you got to be able to back that statement up. And the final advice that I would give, which is something I actually learned during the Norskin Accelerator, the Norskin Impact Accelerator in Stockholm, is make sure that you set up your business model in such a way that every additional unit of growth, or growth in revenue, or growth in sales, or growth in whatever your growth is, to be an equivalent unit of impact. So that's essentially the way that we built it at Beans, was for every additional sale that we made, the
Mhm.
more every party involved would gain.
Okay, interesting. I would love to dig in on that a little bit more. So, do you mean could you give a more detailed example? Like you say, like 10, I don't know, 10% of product, or how are you translating that exactly?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it depends on every different business model, right? But
Hmm.
just make sure that for every additional unit of growth, so I don't know, for every 10% increase in sales also equals a 10% increase or an equivalent percent increase in whatever your impact measure is.
Okay, got you. Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally
whether
makes
it's
sense.
tons of products saved, or it can be, number of people that you've helped, or whatever your measure is, whatever your KPI is for impact, make sure that it's directly correlated to every additional unit of growth, meaning an increase in that particular KPI.
Okay. I feel like that's a gem because I can imagine then it's just so specific. Like, okay, look, we built this, let's say, software and it reduces your energy use, which reduces X amount of,
Hmm.
greenhouse gases, something very specific, not just focusing on the profit part.